I'm Gabriel Waterhouse, and this is the Great British Chef Signature Series. One of the main motivations behind the Waterhouse project was that I'd always been cooking in these very traditional environments, but I wanted to create food of that level, but that sat in a more contemporary environment. You know, I think often it's the case that there's a lot of added baggage that's attached to fine dining, and I wanted to make sure that that wasn't the case with what we did here. My training has been very classical, and then through my own experimentation, I feel like I've embraced things that really fit with my personality. My name is Gabriel Waterhouse. I'm the chef and the owner of the Waterhouse Project, and this dish is an autumn truffle custard with hen-of-the-woods, a pickled walnut reduction, and puffed barley. I think it's very autumnal. It's currently on our autumn menu, and it's quite a punchy kind of kick and a wake up to autumn, I think. The first thing I will do is I'm going to make the pickled walnut reduction. So this is just with these pickled walnuts. We use the walnuts for something else in the restaurant, so we just use the pickling liquid that we reduce, and it provides a really nice glaze for the walnut. So yeah, I start by reducing that. So that's the walnut. It's going to thicken up a little bit as well once it cools, so I'll just leave that there. And then the first job is to make the truffle custard. So this is really simply with egg yolk and cream, some truffle and corn flour, and also truffle juice. I'm going to make this in the Thermomix, but you can also do this in a pan, a bit like you would make a traditional custard as well. So with this, literally I just put everything into the jug. So the cream, the egg, corn flour, a bit of truffle juice, and a bit of the frozen truffle as well. This just provides like a nice bit of texture to get that flakiness of the truffle through the custard as well. Put it on for takes about 7 minutes, cook it at about 90 degrees. And what this also helps to do is just blend the truffle, so you get those nice flakes of truffle through the custard as well. So I'm just going to leave that there to cook. So this is hen-of-the-woods, which is a really beautiful mushroom. They grow wildly, but this one we get from Natura. Grown in the New Forest in Dorset, and it's actually cultivated there. It has a very deep, quite intense umami flavour to it. So to make the glaze for this, it's just sugar and tamari. So start off by making a direct caramel with sugar. You do this by getting a dry pan, putting the sugar into the pan. And it's easiest if you just start with a little bit of sugar at a time. And then once that starts to caramelize, you add a little bit more and a little bit more until all the sugar is caramelized. And then I'm going to pour the tamari on top. It's basically like a kind of soy sauce, but it's much more flavorful. It just kind of brings that sort of salty savouriness. So that's the direct caramel. Now that the caramel is ready, I add the tamari, so just in small amounts again. Obviously, this is really hot, so it's good to do it slowly. And at first it bubbles quite a lot. So that is that's the glaze, which is finished. And then what I'm going to do is just glaze this on the mushroom, and then bake it in the oven. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 165 degrees for about 10 minutes. So these are the hen-of-the-wood mushrooms that have just come out of the oven. I'm just going to kind of base them a little bit in this liquid while they cool. So this next part is the puff barley. You just need a dry hot pan with a bit of oil. And basically it's like any grains that you can kind of puff them very quickly and they become edible. So this is the pearl barley, and you want it fairly hot, but it's just going to puff and you'll see it kind of increases in size. You just want to keep it moving. So that's the puff barley. And then just season it in the pan when it's still got some oil in there as well. So that kind of helps to grip to the barley. The custard, it's cooked. And I'm just putting it in a bowl to cool down, just so that it doesn't become lumpy whilst it's cooling. And then once it's set, and cool, I season it as well. It's a lot easier to season things when they're cooled. So this is the truffle custard in a piping bag. You can just spoon it on if you want, but obviously we want a kind of nice shape. So pipe it straight into the center of the plate. Just tap it down a little bit. And then use a tiny bit of demerara sugar and burn it on to the top with a blowtorch. I always start at the base of the plate because it kind of seals in the custard. And the nice thing about having this like completely fresh is you get that proper crack when you eat into it as well. And then the mushroom just goes on top. A bit of the walnut reduction as well. Puffed barley. And lastly, grating a little bit of fresh walnut over the top. This is my autumn truffle custard with hen-of-the-woods mushrooms, pickled walnut reduction and puffed barley.